A very good evening to all the honorable guests and everyone present here. It's a great pleasure to celebrate this International Women's Day with you and express our thoughts on this day. So, wishing all of you a very happy International Women's Day. Celebrating women, whether professionally or personally, is a sense of commitment to every woman in one's life. The International Women's Day brings together women from all walks of life who gather together around the country, spanning cultural and ethnic divides, into the limelight to commemorate their struggle for peace, justice, equality, and progress.
WIN-NITT, the Women Inclusivity Network of NIT-Trichy, is a community of female students and alumni of NIT-Trichy who have joined hands to improve the representation of women in STEM fields, thereby inspiring and supporting women in their quest to achieve their technical career aspirations. We look forward to taking up tech initiatives focused on diversity, inclusion, and equity. We aim to create an atmosphere where women of NIT Trichy can explore tech and help each other climb the technical ladder together.
On behalf of WIN-NITT, we welcome you all as we gather to celebrate the International Women's Day, commemorating the cultural, political, and socio-economic achievements of women. This day is all about valuing oneself and realizing their full potential. It empowers women to summon the fortitude to overcome obstacles in all areas of life to achieve significant progress. The UN Women consider that education is one of the greatest game changers for girls, both as an enabler as well as a force multiplier for women's empowerment and gender equality.
With the uprise of this new era in new millennium, the focus shifted to the organizations and made them more adaptive for women employees. Women are everywhere, be it industry, science, and even politics. The constant efforts of the community paved the path for various companies to start including the female workforce and diversify the organizations, breaking the gender stereotypes and bias. Today, women hold top positions in every sector and play the best roles history has ever seen before. Now, men are standing up as allies to work for the upliftment of women, what is exactly what the women from 1800s would have imagined a world to be.
On this note, we would like to invite our beloved director, ma'am, Dr. G. Aghila. She has a remarkable 32-year-old career in which she has carved a niche as both an academic and an administrator. She holds a PhD from the highly reputed Anna University and has strikingly contributed in the fields of blockchain, big data analytics, ontology engineering, cheminformatics, and artificial intelligence. Dr. Aghila assumed the directorate of NIT Trichy as the second woman director of the 57-year-old institution, which is poised to reach greater heights under her. We welcome you, ma'am, and we are truly honored to have you with us today. May we kindly invite you to speak a few words.
Yeah. Thank you all. It's my pleasure to be part of this International Women's Day celebration at NIT Trichy. As it was clearly told by the young people, I'm getting energy from you people when I see you inviting or giving the invitation to all the people who have joined here. And as far as this Women's Day celebration is considered, if we take the root cause or if we take the original idea of why we are celebrating this kind of Women's Day, that's one question in everybody's mind. As it was rightly pointed out, women are doing their best in every field wherever they are entering. And there is no doubt that we are going to reach very high in the near future. But the question in our mind is in engineering and technology and in other fields, why we could not reach that level even now. That is, I'm not talking about one or two or three. On the whole community, the women community, we have to uplift. If that is the case, what is the responsibility of as a science and engineering student, that too studying in a technical institute like NIT-Trichy. So we have some more moral responsibility with respect to societal improvement. So, in this Women's Day, apart from cherishing what we have done so far, we have to think what we can contribute to the society, especially to the women who are working and whom we are calling not working, but they are also working. To the upliftment of their life, anything we can contribute. But you, the young children, recently you have joined this NIT for your uh, studies in the first year, second year, and third year, and fourth year. So, all we have to think is what we can contribute again to the society, especially to the women in technologically or in the engineering sector. You may ask right now, immediately what we have to do. So now our responsibility is whatever it is being taught and whatever you are trying to do, you do it with full commitment. That was the word used by when she was introducing or when she was giving the welcome speech. So the commitment is always there with us. What next? So we have to wide or we have to see very openly what is the requirement in the society. Actually, generally, whenever we are thinking about the requirement, what the society needs immediately, if we concentrate in that, then we have humpty number of existing solutions. But how to link that? That is an important concept as young women students. We have to think about it. And really, I've seen all the young entrepreneurs who are all going to be in this particular function to discuss in the panel discussion, and they are going to share their experience in a different way. Fortunately, today morning I attended a Women's Day program which is nearby Bharatdasan University. So there they have celebrated, they identified some of the women who have contributed to the society and community, and they were felicitating them. When I was discussing them, it was very clear that some point it has given them a spark to do like that. So they observed that and they worked on it very, very consistently, and they have reached up to this level. So that is a kind of information that's a women students we are getting. We have to keep ourselves with open mind. What are all the requirements? We have to first find it. Then, using this engineering and technology, how we can give solution to them, and how we can reach the community apart from whatever it is required in the curriculum in the institute, what we are supposed to do. So I take this opportunity to give a Women's Day greetings to all the people who are attending this function and all the students of NIT Trichy. Thank you for the opportunity. All the best.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your thoughts and for all your inspiring words. We would now like to introduce our esteemed speakers for the day. We request the audience to feel free to post any questions they would like to ask our guests for the day. These would be addressed at the end of the panel discussion. Moving on with our first speaker, we have with us today Ms. Deepshikha Kumar, founder of Speakin, Asia's largest network of business experts and thought leaders, an alumnus of Indian School of Business, Hyderabad, and the Wharton School of Business. She is an inspiration for young entrepreneurs. She is the recipient of Asia Women Icon Award, Top Indian Women Entrepreneur, Google Digital Women Award in Leadership, and many more. She is a TEDx speaker, an author, and avid guide on building excellence in speech. We welcome you, ma'am. We would love to hear about your experience so far and any advice that you would give to young women to fulfill their dreams while simultaneously handling the pressures they are facing in the new world. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Trinity. Such a pleasure and an honor to be here at such an esteemed institution. NIT-Trichy, I mean, there were a lot of, I also did my engineering, and when I studied back in ISB, there were so many people who came from NIT-Trichy, and it used to be the dominant cohort in our MBA. So absolutely honored and lovely to be here among such a young and dynamic diaspora. So thank you very much for this time. I think it's a phenomenal day. I have had the opportunity today to speak with and to speak to several revered individuals, women, men who celebrate the day today as a day of resonance for women folk. There are three to four things that I would like to say. And I wish this was a two-way interaction, but since I have the stage, so I would share with you about five learnings of my journey so far. I'm today the founder of Speaking, which is today Asia's largest network of experts and thought leaders. We provide learning technology for organizations in India and overseas. We currently have offices between India, Singapore, and Dubai. We are traditionally a business to business, which is a B2B company, now entering a B2C space with one on one coaching as well as group coaching experiences. My journey as an entrepreneur, as a woman, as an individual began back in Delhi. I was born and brought up in Delhi, and only child of my parents, a girl child, and my mother was the only um, woman in the entire family who was working. She was a government servant. She worked. She retired as an officer with the UPSC, and so from day zero of my life, I've always looked up. I've always identified that financial independence is key uh, to being an independent woman, to be able to contribute. I have seen her all my life balancing work, child, marriage, the entire family, and of course her professional and personal journey in herself. The three to five things that I said that would love to share. Number one, my first lesson of my life is that as women, and I welcome uh, the the men, the younger generation also on this. If you're listening to us, but largely for women in particular. Number one is that never believe in the external factors impacting you. So the theme of this year's International Women's Day, as somebody said, is break the bias. I think a large part of bias for women resides within ourselves. I have, in my 18 years of career, never walked in a situation, never walked in a meeting, never walked in a client interaction or a classroom even, thinking that I'm a woman. I've walked in as a student, I've walked in as an employee, I've walked in as a CEO, I've walked in as a managing director, I've walked in as an entrepreneur. Never take or carry that baggage forwards. Never carry that baggage of thought process that you're a woman and you need to be bound by either perceptions or thought process in any way. That has solved a lot of problems for me. Second, prepare to work very, very hard. There is no comparison. There is no other comparison. There is no comparison on caste, creed, color, gender, age, and more. If you are the hardest person in the room, if you are the highest quality person in the room, it'll eventually come out. Work towards being, compete with yourself, set benchmarks with yourself where you are working hard and harder to make things happen. Number three, prepare to play or be around a larger gamut of perceptions, which basically means that a lot of times we assume that even in professional setting, we assume that there are people who have very high IQ. He will know, she will know. When you assign a work to somebody, you assume that it's his job. If you go into the admissions council or to an admissions place, you would assume that they would know. They would already know. They should know. If I have to submit a bill to accounts, I assume that, oh, this is his job or her job, right? We'll do it. We'll clear my bill. A lot of times that doesn't happen. Don't go with the assumptions. EQ is higher than IQ, and you as women have a massive advantage of naturally coming with the anatomy, with the thought process where EQ weighs very heavily. The final thing that I would want to say is the importance of network. We as women tend to mind our own business, as they say, to be with ourselves, to drive our own journeys. Oh, I'm working very hard. Oh, I do my work. I study very well, and that's it. That should be good enough. It's never good enough. Uh, Understand your environments, know your environment, connect with people 360 degree. You are in an institution which is phenomenal. NIT-Trichy is a world-renowned institution, and take the opportunity to network, to know your peers, to appreciate their strengths and help with their challenges. Take the time to know your teachers, your principal, your director. Take the time to network with people who are coming from industry into the college. Make the extended effort to reach out to people on LinkedIn, for example, or through the other social media networks. When you make that effort, when you build that network, you create an entire ecosystem for yourselves, which will help you throughout your learning journey of this life, personally as well as professionally. So these are the five learnings, at least, that I have seen in my career, both as an employee and as an employer. Once again, I'm delighted to be here and would love to see people from NIT-Trichy coming forward and working with Speaking or being a part of the Speaking family as well. Thank you very much, Kritika. At this point, put it back to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a really very insightful talk and some really great pieces of advice for not just girls, but for everyone out there who's listening to this. Something which we can implement in our day to day life and get going to chase our dreams and like, look for big dreams, chase them with all the vigor we have in us. Thank you so much for that, ma'am. So we'll move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker, Lieutenant Commander Bidisha Pandey, has donned the whites to serve the nation in the Indian Navy for a decade as a logistics officer. She represented the Navy in the iconic transatlantic Cape Town to Rio Ocean Sailing Expedition 2017. She is currently pursuing MSc Prosperity, Innovation and Entrepreneurship at the Institute for Global Prosperity, University College, London. She is the recipient of the prestigious Commonwealth Scholarship by the UK Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. The Kashti Bhushan and Celebrating Women in Maritime Award are some of the highlights of her contribution to the maritime fraternity as a dedicated naval officer, courageous seafarer, and an inspirational leader. Ma'am, we are truly privileged to have you with us today. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Kimaya, for that wonderful introduction. I would like to firstly thank Dr. Aghila, Kimaya, Srinidhi. I think you guys are doing a great job. And sessions like these actually help in motivating women. I am a firm believer that women should empower more women through their experiences and through their learnings. And this is the only way that we can actually strengthen each other and form a very strong community. Um, as Kimaya introduced me, I'm Lieutenant Commander Bidisha. I joined the Indian Navy in July 2011, and that was right after my engineering. It was a part of university entry scheme. In my last year of engineering, there was a team from the Navy who had come to the campus. There was an interview that was done, and then I was shortlisted for the Service Selection Board, which is a 5-day testing procedure, which happened in Bhopal. And from there, I cleared the Service Selection Board on the first attempt. And from there, I went to the Indian Naval Academy, where we underwent training. The preliminary training was for around 6 months at Indian Naval Academy, Ezimala. It was a very tough training. I think all of us, not just me, but all of us who joined the academy, We surpassed our own expectations there. I mean, running some 20 kilometers and 30 kilometers, camps, jumping of 5-meter heights, boxing, and all of parade, PT, that kind of a routine. I think we never thought we would be able to do all of it. But by the time we actually passed out of the academy, we felt like we are superheroes because we were able to accomplish all of it. And maybe individually we would not have been able to do it, but because we were together, again, all women together, we did support each other, and we suffered fractures, we were tired, it was tough, but I think because we came together we could do it. And since then I know the strength that a community can give to you. So after that, I headed to Vishakhapatnam. My first appointment was at INS Excella, which is a gas turbine overhaul center at Vishakhapatnam. In 2013, I was selected for the Republic Day Parade ceremony. I did not lead the contingent in 2015, but I was selected for the unfurling of the national flag at Vijay Chowk, a moment that I will remember forever because I was right there at Vijay Chowk. It was live on DD, and I think my relatives and friends were really excited to see me on TV for the first time that day. Following which, in 2014, I led the naval marching contingent for RD Parade. So, as a kid, I'm an army kid, and my father has served in the Indian Army and retired a few years ago. And I always used to go to see these parades, right? And I never thought that I would have the opportunity to lead my contingent on Rajpath. And that is a feeling that I don't know, I can never describe in words. You have the entire Delhi crowd cheering for you on both sides of Rajpath, and it's absolutely fantastic. 2015, I don't know how many of you remember, we had all women contingents marching in 2015. So for the first time, Indian Navy, Indian Army, and Indian Air Force, all three had 144 women officers marching. Like the contingent had 144, and US President Barack Obama was the chief guest for that particular Republic Day celebrations in 2015. And I think that is the closest to my heart. It is an honor that I could lead that contingent too. So I got the opportunity to lead the naval contingent twice on Rajpath in 2014 and in 2015. In 2016, ocean sailing happened, the one that Kimaya mentioned, which was the International Ocean Sailing Expedition. So I put my name ahead for it. Women in the Indian Navy basically during my time were not being sent on warships. But I had this urge to sail because I thought if I'm in the Indian Navy, I should definitely make it a point and see what life at sea really is, what sailing means. And that is why I volunteered for this. Initially, a lot of women volunteered, and then there was a selection procedure. And after that, we got the opportunity to participate in the Cape Town to Rio expedition. So basically, there was the 17-meter boat, which is INSP Madai. And we sailed from, so there were 4 legs to this expedition. There was Goa to Cape Town to Rio, Rio to Cape Town back, and Cape Town to Goa. So I was in the return leg from Cape Town to Goa. It is approximately 5,000 nautical miles, and we sailed continuously for 33 days on board a 17-meter boat. An adventure that, I don't know, I think no other career would have allowed me to have such a kind of experience in my life. And we were a mixed crew. There were 4 male officers and 2 women officers, myself and Riza, my course mate. And we had a fabulous time. 3 days when we started, I think 3 days after we started from Cape Town, we were into a storm, and we were all wet and cold. There was no time to sleep. It was really an adventure of a lifetime. And as we moved from the Atlantic to the Indian Ocean, things were a little smoother. And as we crossed the equator, I still remember that we were all made to jump into the Indian Ocean. And that is a naval ceremony that happens, that when we cross the equator, we are supposed to jump into the ocean and swim around that boat or ship and then get back. So that's the kind of ceremony that is done in the Navy. So our skipper is supposed to be the senior most among the officers on board. So our skipper also told us that, let's jump. And I am a swimmer, of course, because in the Navy we have this training to the swimming is a compulsory part of the training. But swimming in the Indian Ocean is not something that I had ever imagined again. When I jumped, I was scared, but then later on, after a few minutes, seeing that infinite water, no land anywhere, it really did. I mean, I really pinched myself that I am doing it right now, and I'm getting this opportunity to do this, and it might never really happen again in my life. So again, a moment very close to my heart. Uh, 10 years in the Indian Navy, and exactly like in July 2011, I was a part of the short service commission entry. So I knew that my tenure would be of 10 years. I joined in 2011, and July 2021, I finished my 10-year tenure. Uh, Looking ahead, I wanted to do something in the social entrepreneurship sector. And that is the reason I applied for this course at UCL, which was Masters in Prosperity, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship. And I was lucky enough to be awarded the Commonwealth Scholarship for this particular course. So right now I'm in London, and I'll be back in October to India, and most probably I will be setting up my own enterprise, and I'll take guidance from Deepshikha and Lakshmi for that, because they are the veterans and they are the entrepreneurs. So I'm really looking forward to it. The few things that I would like to share, I've already shared my journey. I believe in doing things by example. So I hope my journey motivates a lot of you. But there are just four things that I would like to share. Firstly, the choice is always yours. In the end, you make your own decisions. There are a lot of expectations from the society, but you need to believe in yourself and take your own decisions in life. Secondly, I think personality is more important than perfection. You need to embrace what is your strength, and you need to play to your strengths. You cannot become everything that the society expects you to become. You need to see what you are good at, and you need to align yourself with it in order to be successful in life. Third, building your own team. There are times when you feel you feel low. Not always, it's not always that you feel very strong and very energetic about things. So these, the closest circle that you have, your best friends, your parents, your partner, your siblings, these are the people, I think these are your team. So whenever you are low, your team should be able to remind you of your capabilities and should be able to put you back on track. So you should have those people around you. So that team, that close team, is very much required to achieve anything and everything in life. And I'm very lucky in that way, because right from my parents to my husband, everybody has been super supportive throughout this journey of adventures. And lastly, I believe that you are never too late. Like, I am 31 right now, and I am restarting. This is a career transition for me, like 10 years in the Navy as an operations and supply chain officer, and now moving to social entrepreneurship domain. I think one should be fearless and bold enough to follow their heart, to take decisions that may not look normal to people, but you should definitely follow your heart, and you should not have any regrets in life whatsoever. With that, I think I would like to sum up my 8 minutes. I hope I did not take a lot of time. I would again like to wish everybody a very happy Women's Day. Celebrate your strengths, celebrate who you are. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was really a very amazing journey to listen to. In fact, all of us here were very interested. We were looking forward to listening to your journey into the defense forces, into the Indian Navy, and then to UCL. So your advice, it was also like really very inspiring and something which we have a lot to take back from that. So with this, we'll move on to our next speaker. Srinidhi, uh, uh, hello. Okay, I think Srinidhi is facing some network issue, so I'll just take it forward. So, our next speaker, Mrs. Lakshmi Mini Ma'am, is the co-founder of Go Huddle and a global shaper at World Economic Forum. Along with being a passionate writer and a startup mentor, she is the project manager at Cyber Cop Connect under ISAC and defense researcher at DRAS, Defense Research and Studies. She was also sponsored by the National Commission for Women for the Do Your Venture by IIM Bangalore, India SME, Small and Medium Sized Enterprises Forum, and NSRCEL, one of the leading startup hub incubation center across India. She is an active volunteer who focuses on women empowerment, Skill Up India, education of underprivileged, and more. Ma'am, we are extremely delighted to have you with us today. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Kimaya. It's not just Srinidhi. I think even I'm facing network issues. So kindly excuse me if I'm keeping my video off for some time. Is that fine?
Not an issue.
Uh, yeah. So I was just saying that it's not just Srinidhi who was having issue with the network, but also me. So am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am, you are. You are audible.
Okay. So kindly excuse me if I'm keeping my video off for some time.
Not
So
not an issue, ma'am. Not an issue.
thank you, Team WIN-NITT, and I love the way you have named it. So let me start. In the future, there will be no female leaders. There will just be leaders by Sheryl Sandberg. With sheer optimism, hope, and confidence, I wish every woman in this world a happy Women's Day. So a little more about me. I'm from Kerala, and since my father was in the Indian Army, I did my schooling in different KVs across the country. So when I was a child, I wondered what sort of pseudo-nomadic life it was. Least did I realize that, I was automatically imbibing certain life skill. It was like you put us anywhere, we will still grow there. I think Bidisha can correlate with me. So I actually never wanted to aspire for a job that was 9 to 5. Even when I was in school, I wanted to be a movie director or a writer, script writer. But since I was academically good, and the society already has a preconception that, if you are good at academics, you have to go for a professional degree before you chase your own dreams. But I never wanted to be an engineer, but I cleared that hurdle with, very good score. Immediately, I was asked to switch over to the next stereotypical milestone, and that was a job that was secured one. I had to accept the job offer from Infosys. Again, never wanted to be a software engineer. I think I'm giving you all the list of things that I never wanted to, but I ended up doing. You know what? Then I realized that it was more a kind of a loop. You're born, your school, your college, your job, your marriage, everything is happening with lots of ifs and buts, and that the result must also fit in some acceptable output. Else, in the eyes of society, you won't be successful. I was slightly uncomfortable with the concept because this is my life. What do I have to do? And everything that is expected by others, why should I even think about it? I mean, this is my life. I should go by what I like to do. But Infosys was something good that happened to me because it helped me find the budding leader within me. And I got married to a soldier. Then since I took the decision, it I nobody imposed that to me. So what I thought is like his profession is something I must respect, and maybe I should quit my job. But I was so prejudiced by this that am I audible? I kindly excuse me if I'm checking in between. I'm just not that trusting my network.
No, I'm not an issue. You're audible. You're completely audible.
At any point, if you lose my audio, kindly let me know.
Sure, sure, ma'am.
So
Sure. I'll note that.
I was under the prejudice that, if you're getting married to a soldier, you must respect his career and quit your job. But when I saw the ladies, the wonderful women, the soldier wives, I realized that how successful they were career wise. Plus, I realized one more thing that being a housewife is not an easy game. It requires a lot of patience, which I was running short of. And so I decided to work from home from December 2013 because I was in Assam, Mohanbadi, and there were like no software companies there at that time. And it was like, more like starting from zero. But my husband, he was so supportive, and he reminded me that it's not just a soldier but also the soldier's wife who are the warriors. So, with that, I just proceeded. And then when I became pregnant, again, the stereotypical milestones came in front of me, and they told me that I was fit into the perfect wife and perfect mother category. And for that, I'll have to stop thinking about my career. But you know what? One thing struck me, and it was like, if I do that, if I become a good mother by quitting my career, what sort of example am I giving to my own kids and to the students I know? So at that day, I mean, at that time, I thought that I must just believe myself and what my loved one says, and just ignore the, the prejudice what the society has got for perfect people. And then what happened is, one by one, I started listing down my dreams and I started chasing them. It really seemed to be impossible for me. People told that working from home, I can see, you just need to note one thing, that working from home became normal after the COVID thing. But I started working from home back in December 2013. It was not an easy journey for me back then. People told me that I cannot become an entrepreneur, I cannot work in movies, I cannot be a startup mentor, I cannot fulfill my dreams, I cannot do this, that, whatever I just said. And maybe, in my introduction that is clearly written here, you can see that all what was said, impossible for me, I dreamt of it and I made it possible. So I wanted to be an RJ, and recently I could achieve that after 10 years of struggle, finally. So, girls, I just want to tell one thing, that you can do anything you want. You just need to find the right wing. There will be more hurdle. It just means that the success is sweet. You just need to chase your dream. You need to believe in yourself. And mark my words, it's you who has to decide your life. You are the ones who will write your destiny, not anybody else. And a couple of few things that I wanted to tell you. I think already Deepshika and Bidisha has covered it, but I'm telling you, those are exactly what you must. You can. I wouldn't say that you must follow us, but believe me, those are something very effective. First one is, don't fall in any crazy competition, unfair competition. Just challenge yourself and try to prosper. Be kind, compassionate, and fierce and brave at the same time whenever required. Grab the opportunities. Think from 360 degrees. Build strong networks. You know how I got into World Economic Forum, how I became a global shaper? It was just 7 days before I found a post from one of my network, and he was into global shaper. And I thought, why not? Because they had an age restriction that one has to be below 30 years to become a global shaper. And I thought, why not apply it before my 30th birthday? And yes, I did it. And today I'm a global shaper. And how did I become a co founder? Sitting at home, you should also note that. Again, from my network, I started sending requests to the potential connects whom I thought that I might, learn from. And with the conversation, they understood the skill in me and not the other hurdles that I was facing. They gave me the equal opportunity, and they gave me the opportunity to be the co founder. So it's the trust that they get from your skills, nothing else. And the strong network, and then always be active. Brand yourself aggressively. That really works. Until 2018, I wasn't branding myself. I used to feel shy. Why should I even tell my accomplishment to the world? But when I started doing it, I started noting the difference. And don't fall in any guilt trap. The society might tell you you are not in the right way, but you just listen to your heart and be fair, transparent, a good team player who ensure to reach the goal, but also help the others who are traveling with you. So respect everyone, irrespective of their caste, creed, color, religion. Just respect everyone, because everybody's dream matters. And always spread your smile, because that's what the world needs. Be happy and make others happy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was really very interesting, very inspiring, and exciting to hear. In fact, when you told about the number of schools you changed, I could completely relate to it because after a set of 2 3 years, I used to ask my father, "Okay, I think it's time we can just move on from here. I'm just getting bored sitting at the same place." So yes, that was something which really caught my attention. And with respect to the advice all three of our speakers have given, I think even Srinidhi you would agree, all of the advices completely resonate with each other, and they tell like you just have to be brave, you have to be fearless, you have to look big, look for big dreams, chase them. And that's something which we all should look up to from their really inspiring and motivational journeys out there. They've just broken stereotypes out there. And I just hope we are able to do the same and walk on your footsteps as well. Over to you, Srinidhi.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you again. With this, we move on to our panel discussion session for the evening. We welcome all the panelists to join us on screen. All right, so here are a few questions that we would love to hear your thoughts about. So, our first question being gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow is the theme for IWD 2022. It recognizes the contribution of women across the globe in fabricating a more sustainable future for all of us. What is your opinion on gender equality and inclusivity of diverse groups today for a sustainable tomorrow? Bidisha, ma'am, you can share your thoughts.
Yeah. So I think when we look at the SDGs, gender equality is one of the goals, and sustainability uh, obviously is something which is like progress today in a way that you reserve the resources for the future generations. So that is what defines sustainability. In the Navy, I was not very much into the sustainability discussions, I'll be very honest. But now that I am doing a course in prosperity innovation, and I understand the importance and the role that women play in achieving the sustainability goals. Firstly, as a woman, I think you influence the whole family. It's not just you. So if you basically a woman who is economically empowered, a woman who knows what is good and what is bad for the family, all the other elements of the SDGs, as in if we see responsible production and consumption, if we see life uh, at sea, life on land, there are a lot of goals. And in our everyday life there are a lot of things that we do that affect those SDGs, right? So I think as a because the role of a woman in bringing up her children, basically whether it's a son or a daughter, is very important. Of course, this is a separate discussion that fathers also have a very important role to play, but that is gradually changing. As of now, it's mostly done by the mothers, right? So the values that are inculcated in children are through their mothers. So I think when a woman is educated, the whole family is educated, right? If the woman is more aware, the whole family is more aware. Even a son who grows into grows with a mother who's more advanced or forward looking, I think he would grow up to be a man with a different kind of mindset. So I think that is how it resonates, and that is how women have a very important role to play. So interestingly, we had a paper on this, and I'm in my term two, so that is why I'm commenting. One of the papers actually there is a research paper on this which says that the effect and influence of a woman's mindset on her family is tremendous. It is way higher than what a man's influence is on, especially on children, especially on young people. So I think through that perspective, I would say it is very much the two goals are very much related. Like gender equality and achieving sustainability are very much related to each other.
Thank you, ma'am. It's so true that the thoughts of women are very important when it comes to a family, because that's how the children's thoughts are also shaped. So, Lakshmi, ma'am, we would like to hear your thoughts about the same too.
Yeah, I was actually listening to Bidisha, and I totally agree with what she has said. And I just want to add on to it my own personal experience. Like I've already covered it during my introduction. So, in the right support system, this thing can be made possible, gender equality. And we have to reach a stage wherein we should no more discuss about gender equality, because that should become something normal. And I'm very hopeful about that, the way it is being. Because 10 years back, if you notice, situations were not similar. Like more than gender equality, there were like certain things that has to be sensitized so that the gender equality becomes smooth. For instance, when I was in a software company I was working for, there I faced kind of not so good experience just because I was women. So I really wish that if those things never happen. I'll tell you, since we are in this panel discussion. See, my project manager told me, why don't I get some surgery done to get rid of my menstrual pain. So these kind of thing was, really dragging me down, and maybe it helped me to quit that job at that time. And now when I note, I've seen that people have started discussing more about it. So we are slowly moving towards that phase. And like she said, if you educate a women, we are like, it's more like educating the entire family. So totally up for it.
That's so true, ma'am. There are so many things that are becoming more towards open discussions nowadays. So, and it is the way to go, as you had mentioned. So now, as we had discussed from the previous question, it's like a continuation basically. We do see women coming emerging as achievers in various professional fields. However, when it comes to leadership positions, again, the ratio of men and women are not yet comparable. So, how do you think we can bridge this gap, and how would you like to redefine the nuances of a balanced leader?
Okay. So when we are discussing about this leadership position, if you consider career to be like a ladder, you're looking at who has reached the top. But if you
Right.
consider how many people try to climb the ladder and how many left the ladder in between, that is where the real problem lies. If you consider the employability of urban women, I think it's around 5.4%, which is very low. And just like your question, we cannot compare. And out of
Right.
100 people in employable age category, 100 of out of 100 people, 67% of men, they are employed, and only 9% of females, they are employed. So whatever is required for the female to come forward, all the obstructions in their path, it has to be cleared, and only then they can reach the topmost position. So the journey is not same for men and women, though the goal is same. So that is where
Yes.
the glitch is happening, and we have to remove it. And I must say that we as women, we have achieved tremendous, things in all the fields like media or finance or politics or anywhere. I think Nirmala Sitharaman is the best example for that. So maybe we have to make the path clear for all the women.
I would like to add here basically in the armed forces, you were saying a small percentage in the armed forces, nobody is becoming an admiral or a general, like because of the kind of entries that the armed forces had. It was just the medical branch which had women, and therefore you would have seen interviews of General Madhuri on in a lot of magazines because she has made it to that rank. So the medical officers were making it, but for the other cadres, the permanent commission was not there at all. So we were like just 10 years. So you will never aspire to become an admiral. You will never aspire to become the commanding officer. No matter how hard you work, you won't reach that. So even when I joined, it was like you knew that the tenure is just 10 years and extendable up to 14, right? So beyond that, you can't be there. So your aspirations are kind of affected. But in case of armed forces, it is more of a policy thing, I guess, and which is changing because I think the news that NDA has opened its gates for women now, so women can now join after 12th standard, which is a very great step because now you're giving a level playing field. Now the women who join after 12th standard and join the National Defense Academy, they would be permanent commissioned and they might as well aspire to become the chief. They may definitely make it. So that is a welcome change. So I think it was a policy level thing because of which in the armed forces we never saw women as generals or admirals in the main branches or cadres.
So again, that
Yes,
comes to
ma'am.
the
We
point
can.
wherein, yeah, Kimaya, go ahead, go ahead.
No, so I was just telling. So there are some professions which do limit like the ultimate topmost positions for women, but that's not because women are not capable enough, but it's just like there are some technical issues or probably some policies which limit the same. So I think we can move on to the next question with this. So, ma'am, we would like to know if there were any challenges you faced during your professional career, and how have you seen over the 10 years you've worked, or even Lakshmi, ma'am, over the years you've worked, how have you seen your working domain evolve to be a better place for women? And if there's anything you feel that transition from from your educational institution to the professional sphere could have been made more smoother by people around you. So we'd like to know what you think about the same.
Yeah, actually, I had
Uh,
to. There was a. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am,
yes,
you're
ma'am,
audible.
you're
Can we
audible.
split the question because it was inaudible to me. So you were talking about, I think, the education reformation towards the career. That's the only thing that I could hear.
Ma'am,
We
I
can
can
split
I
the
can
question.
get back. Sure, that would be
Sorry.
also fine, ma'am. That would also
So
be
what I've
fine. I think we
noted
can
is
just
like, yeah, I've noted that when you're in school and when you choose a career, a professional degree for yourself, you're not given the opportunity to select it based on your skill. It's more like the tag that comes in front of your name. It's like doctor, engineer. So if that kind of attitude is removed, maybe we can have more quality leaders in future. If they are allowed to explore their dreams, passion, and not a content based learning, but a context based learning, something where they will be given opportunity to solve the problem right from their education phase and not just when they land in some job. So that is something that can be taken care of.
And I would like
And
to take on I think you asked about the challenges that I faced in the 10 years. So I think to begin with, the service selection board itself, where you are supposed to take on a lot of physical tasks, there are obstacle courses, and then there are interviews and psychology tests. I think I do not come from a very physically active. I mean, I was not into sports when I joined. I used to be good at badminton, but other than that, I was not really a marathon runner or something. So I had my own apprehensions when I was going for the service selection board. But what was tested was that not your ability to complete that high jump or Tarzan jump or all of that. What was seen as your courage to take it up, basically. And I learned that after once I cleared the SSB, I understood that what they are looking at is courage and conviction to what you want to achieve. Whether you achieve it or not is a secondary thing, but do you have it in you to go ahead with doing things that you have never tried in your life? Are you ready to do that? So I think that was the first step in the service selection board. Later, when I went to the academy, the physical grill was. I don't think anybody can prepare for academy, because that kind of physical grill you cannot really have in day-to-day life. You can't really be doing PT, parade, swimming, and jumping and all of that. So again, a lot of physical grill was there, but when we always thought that the day we pass out, we would have those ranks on our shoulders, and we would there would be people saluting you. When you look at the end goal, I think everything is justified. So we always used to remind ourselves that how proud our parents would be, and how proud we would be. We would feel something, we would feel that we have achieved something big in life at the end of all of this. And therefore, we motivated each other to complete that training. So that was also a very challenging phase. Republic Day parade, I would like to say that for 2 months, you are in New Delhi, you get up at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then you would have to wear two pair of socks, boots, and then you would march. And basically, the practice takes place early morning because the traffic is less during that time in Delhi. So yeah, so it's all foggy and chilly, and we used to see sunrise while marching every day, and that is the routine for 2 months. So what is seen on the screen for perhaps few seconds of perfect coordination, it takes 2 months of practice for the entire contingent. And discipline, what I would like to say, discipline and leadership both, because the 144 sailors who are marching behind you, you cannot just motivate them. You have to be perfect, only then do they follow you, right? So it is always leading by example. That is also, I think, that I learned from the forces, that you have to do it. If you want your troops to follow you, you have to do it yourself. You can't expect them to do something which you are not doing. So that was another major learning. And regarding the gender equality thing, I think it was during the sailing expedition, because we had both men and women, right? That we understood that there is no difference as to how the sea treats you, because had our boat been hit by a storm or something, we all would have been dead. It would not have discriminated between who's a male officer and who's a women officer on board, because once you're there, you're there. You are all working together. The tasks were divided. We used to do duty watches, two people on the watch and four people. There were only four bunks inside. There was only one toilet. There was no separate toilet for ladies. There were no separate bunks for women. It was like open bunks inside. So two people used to be on the watch, four people used to be inside, and we have followed that routine for 33 days. So I think it really breaks a lot of biases. What I think Deepshikha said in the beginning, that sometimes we do have it in our minds, but once you do all of it, you actually feel that there are no differences. You can take it on and you can go ahead with all of it. So yeah, every challenge has been a great learning experience. It has been more like an opportunity to learn something new and be more confident for more challenges in life.
And just perfectly said, Lieutenant Commander Bidisha. And just one point I wanted to add before concluding that the challenges that women face at workplace. Certain terms has to be sensitized at the workplace, just like I mentioned, PCOD, PCOS, or the pain, or that anxiety. What is anxiety, and what is postpartum depression? Because certain reasons might contribute towards attrition, high attrition rate amongst women. So these are also challenges. Like I personally faced wherein I had to attend the meetings and both my kids, and since I told I was working from home, I'll have to mute so that the noises can be like unheard by the ones in the meeting. My kids will be like, "Mama, I want to. Can you please come with me? I've just drawn this scene, how it is." But I cannot actually let my kids down, and simultaneously another meeting is going on. There are like a lot of challenges. But what I would like to say is like these challenges shouldn't demotivate anyone. This is just part of life. And believe me, just go ahead, believe in yourself, and move it. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. That was really very adventurous and very exciting to hear. In fact, both of your stories, and to see that when nature treats us, nature doesn't look at us as two different entities. It's just the human beings who are there and not the male and the female ones. And I mean, we can just clearly see how our discussion is tapering towards the theme of break the bias. So it's really good. Anyways, we'll move to the next question, and we'll make the discussion a little bit more fun and exciting. So, ma'am, we'd like to know, like, if it were possible, would and if if we could have one superpower, which would be that superpower which you'd like to possess, or if not a superpower, is there any superhero character which you'd like to embody,
Superhero character which we would want to embody.
or a superpower you'd like to possess, ma'am? Any of the
Actually, if
two.
you're asking me if I want to be like, I mean, if there is a superhero whom I want to be like, I would be like, that would be myself because I'm in love with the journey that I had so far, all the struggles and all. So I would rather learn little from everyone and, still stick on to who I am and the power that I have got. Because otherwise, the world will be just replica, right? So that is there. And superpower, I think we all are bestowed with superpower already.
I completely agree with Lakshmi, and also she will also agree with me that when we were kids, we would look up to our fathers as the superheroes, in uniforms, and that, I mean, our fathers, when all the officers in the armed forces, like I used to be really in awe looking at the uniforms, the stars on their shoulders, and I think though they were the superheroes. And the day I got the opportunity to join the forces, it was a dream come true, because it was like, yeah, now I'm joining the league of my father. So yeah, I mean, for us, I think for me it was pretty much realistic. I used to just look up to my father most of the time. And I totally agree with Lakshmi. It's like I think we already have that power in us. It is all about maybe unlocking it, understanding that you have infinite potential. You're already a superhero within.
That's really nice to that we can see that you guys I mean all of us, in fact, we all it's important for us to make sure that we love ourselves even before we think about others. So ma'am, just one question that we would like to know from both of you. This COVID-19 has been, I mean, the past 2 years have been a really bumpy ride. So, what has been the biggest takeaway for each of you from the times we were amidst the pandemic?
Okay, so
I missed the question. Can you please repeat it? I mean, due to the network.
Sure, ma'am. So, like the past 2 years has been a really bumpy ride with COVID-19 and all. So, what has been the biggest takeaway for each one of you from the times that we were amidst the pandemic?
Actually, I've told that I've been working from home since 2013, right? So the one good thing that happened during the pandemic was before that, work from home was considered a privilege. And after COVID, people understood how hard it is to work from home. And another benefit was the geographical barriers were banished. Like I can learn whatever I want, I can work wherever I want, right from my home. And I could grab many opportunities and I could do many courses. And the networking was something that I aggressively did, and that paid off. So these were certain good things that happened in the past 2 years.
in my case, I think I was posted at Sagar Prairie Well in Mumbai. So this is this organization that has fast interceptor crafts under it. So after the 2008 Mumbai harbor attacks, Navy had deployed certain weaponed platforms, boats that would do round the clock patrolling of the Mumbai harbor. So
Right.
even when COVID happened, I think ours was one unit. Mostly all the defense units were operational, so it was never work from home for us. We were still going to our offices, and the only thing I think we were thanking COVID for empty streets because we did not find any traffic on the way to office in Mumbai. That was the only good part. Otherwise, we were 100% ops. But yes, there were a lot of sacrifices made by those families, like the sailors who went for sailing, the sailors who were on board these boats, the officers who went for patrolling. They were actually asked to stay separate from their families because you did not want the infection to get transferred, and because there were hundreds of regulations from the state government and the government regarding people should not be on the roads and limited number of passes to be given and all of that. So people actually stayed away from their families, and for 3 days at a stretch somebody would stay, or 1 month at a stretch there would be one team which would stay, then they would go back to their family, get the test done, go back to their family again. There's a second set that is coming. So it was pretty tough to keep everything going despite COVID, but it was a matter of national security, and then it had to be done. Like all the units were still operational. So I think the commitment to duty, it was commendable, and it was, I could actually see the sacrifice that people were ready to go ahead with. I mean, nobody complained when we came out with these orders. I think the teams that we were leading, nobody ever came up to us saying that, ma'am, this is a problem, or I cannot leave my family, or I would rather, I'm afraid that COVID would hit me and whatever. Nobody came to us, and everybody was just doing their job throughout that period. And I think as a young officer, I have put in at that time. Yeah, I was in my ninth year of service, and then I was really thankful to God that I was a part of the Navy, because I could learn how much a person can be committed to his or her duty or job. So I think that was a great learning. Also, I utilized that time to draft my applications, because that was just before I was completing my 10-year tenure. So yes, all my Commonwealth application, my UCL application, everything I've done during COVID. So whatever time I could find, I used to draft the things and look for what I have to go ahead. So all of that research happened, because of which today I'm here in London. So that entire thing also happened during COVID. So yeah, it was a challenging phase, but I think a lot of takeaways, a lot of learnings, and I would remember the good part of it. Like every incident has a good and a bad side. So I would say I've learned a lot about the services, also about myself also, and I think I utilized that period quite well to get where I am.
And Lieutenant
Thank you,
Commander
ma'am.
Bidisha, I should have told this before. I'm like a huge fan of women who wear uniform. Like people like you who actually do it and then motivate other women like us and just prove that nothing is impossible for us.
I think I have a
So
lot to learn from you and Deepshikha also, because now I'm moving to the entrepreneurship side. So now I would be learning from you, like my
Let's do the next one. We were
outputs.
already connected, right?
Yeah, yes,
On
we are
LinkedIn.
connected.
Yeah, definitely we'll connect and we'll discuss it.
Right.
thank you, ma'am. Thanks to both of you. Those were like some really, energizing and motivating perspectives, I should say. So now let's move on to the open Q&A questions with the audience itself. Audience, you're free to ask any questions that you would like to ask the speakers. All right. So Tushali wants to know at Vidisha, ma'am, what inspired you to join the defense forces, and how has the Navy made you a better person?
Um, I mentioned earlier, I think that because my father was in the army, I was always in awe of uniforms. I was a very big fan of uniforms right from the beginning. And basically, I will be honest, I was not very clear whether I would join the defense forces when I was doing my engineering. But it was the SSB. I think that was the game changer. When I went for the service selection board, the way in which they assessed us, basically those 5 days in which you have your psychology test, this test, that test. And I was told by my father that service selection board is basically a personality assessment test. You can't fake it there. It is not like a regular entrance where you would prepare, give the exam and crack it. It is not like that, because you would have tests like there is a blank paper, or there are some photographs that are shown to you, and within like a 1 minute or 40 seconds you have to write what comes to your mind looking at that photograph. So that is a kind of psychological assessment. Then there are interviews on the final day, which is an hour long. There is GD, there is group task where you have to form groups with people you have never known, okay, people who have come for service selection board. You have to form groups with them, do the tasks, demonstrate your leadership capability as well as how good you are as a team. So I think there is no way one can fake those 5 days. And in addition to that, the physical tasks, of course, there are obstacles. There is Tarzan jump, this jump, that jump, and I fell in a lot of activities. I could not complete most of them. I am very honest here because I was not very good at sports, but I took it on. I tried everything. I think every obstacle I had given it a shot. That was the high point, that I had gone for everything. Whether I completed or not was a different thing. Or so yes, after SSB, once I cleared it in the first go, I was really impressed by the way they assessed us, and I actually thought that my personality definitely fits. It is a fit for this
Right.
career. I would definitely make a good officer. That is what I felt after that, and that is when I decided to go ahead with it. I was placed in Ericsson, and headstrong that time because I was an electronics and telecom engineer, so I was placed.
Right.
But then once I went for SSB, I think I was totally swayed, and I said I have to join the Navy. I will. This is what it is going to be. How has Navy made me a better person? I would say all the challenges and experiences. No other career would have given me the opportunity to lead contingents on Rajpath, to go for ocean sailing expeditions, any of it. I think none of it was possible in any other career. So I am grateful to Indian Navy for all those experiences, and everything has definitely made me a lot more courageous. I feel a lot more fearless right now after 10 years in the Navy, because I'm not really afraid of anything, whether it's a career transition, whether it is taking up something new. It has just taught me to be a very good leader, a very good communicator, and having a lot of instilled a lot of self confidence. So yeah, that is how it has made me a better person than what I was before I joined the Navy.
Thank you, ma'am. Basically, like we never know what life throws at us, and I feel defense forces is one way in which you'll be a person who'll be ready to tackle any situation that's thrown upon you. So, Tushali, I guess that answers your question. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, so Arjita, Lakshmi ma'am, ignoring society's expectations from you to focus on what you want must have been very difficult. Are there any tips that you would give to us as students to do the same?
That's a very good question. What I would say is like always remember the resilience, the endurance, the never give up attitude, the multitasking skill, the empathy, compassion that a woman has. I don't think anybody else will have it. It's not a blind confidence, but believe me, that's true. So yes, these things were very difficult. But what I did is like just like the previous example that I gave. Whenever there was an interview, like when I used to do recruitment, I used to tell people that I am currently at my home. My kids are there with me. Please understand that there will be some noise from my end. I was transparent. Transparency helped me. And I was like, I'm doing the same work as any other men. So why can't I be paid just like them? So I spoke up. I had the courage to speak up. So that is another tip. And then the networking, you have to keep doing it because it's more like connecting the dot. One networking, you never know, like what me and Lieutenant Commander Bidisha Pandey might do after 2 days, like after our conversation. It's more like grab the opportunity, connect the dots, build your network. That is the best tip. Just be active on LinkedIn. LinkedIn was like the golden opportunity for me because whenever I became active on that, that is when when I became active on that, that is when the story changed, and that's how I am what I am today. And believe in yourself. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Let's take one more question from the audience. Nandini, Lakshmi ma'am, with the entrepreneurship wave around, how can we switch careers and build a successful startup?
First, you need to know that building a startup, it's more like, raising a baby, raising a child. You have to be like very affectionate towards your startup, and you have to believe that yes, you have the time and energy to take it forward. So if you want to switch career, what I did is like I had to start from zero. But you can act even smarter than me by securing, just making yourself financially independent and learn a lot. Like I did entrepreneurship course from IMP, and I was blessed to be mentored by leaders like Krishna Kumar, Captain Naidu. And then when I was in Infosys, I could, it's like when you are just surround yourself with the right people, the right entrepreneurs, learn from them, and be ready to be brave enough to launch yourself as an entrepreneur. Then you can launch your product in the market. And a successful startup, it comes with a lot of planning, and then you have to validate your idea with your target customers, and you have to find the right team instead of having a lot of apprehension in your mind. Just trust your instincts and understand one thing, that startup is not an easy thing. You will encounter failures, but that's not the end of story. Just matters how you take it forward from there. So that's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. So, with this, we come to the end of the Q&A session with the audience itself. Audience, do stay tuned. We have coming up next an exciting event, The Puzzle, which is nothing but a treasure hunt event for all the adventure enthusiasts out there. The forms are still open. If you haven't registered, do register now. Kimaya, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Srinidhi. So, with this, we come to the end of the panel discussion event. All of our speaker stories have been super motivating, extremely inspiring, and all of them resonating the fact how we can actually see the word impossible and read it out as I am possible. So, some of my biggest takeaways from this panel discussion have been to be extremely brave and to ignore the negativity the world is throwing at us just because we are a woman, and to have extreme amount of faith and trust in our potential, in our caliber, and be super passionate about the dreams we have. So, all of us, on behalf of WIN-NITT, we express our heartfelt gratitude to all our speakers for taking out time from their busy schedule and infusing in us the much needed zeal to fearlessly see big dreams and chase them. We would also like to thank our entire Women Inclusivity Network of NIT-Trichy for all their continuous support in organizing this event. And a very big special thanks to the Technical Council and Student Council of NIT-Trichy for leading this event to a grand success. Thank you once again for joining all of us today.
Thank you, Kimaya, Srinidhi. Great job, I think.
Thank you
One
so
should
much,
have
ma'am.
sessions like this.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really nice talking to both of you today during the panel discussion.
I must say it was well organized and well done.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you so
ma'am.
much.